Asking about is how are we like dressed? Like you're dressed like you're coming from the beach. I'm looking like I can't tell if I'm playing basketball, if I'm cold.
That's the whole thing. That we got this thing going. This thing where you really don't know what we're doing, but you want to figure it out.
That's true. Because right now I want to figure it out, and I'm sitting here and I can't really figure it out. I'm like, wow, okay, yeah. Clearly we didn't think we're not in one another's closets. That's for sure.
No, this is one of those. I'm coming back from vacation. You've been on vacation. You back to work. I'm still on vacation.
Ah, that's true. That's true. So, all right. So talk about vacation. How was it?
Vacation was one of those things where I get a chance to not be Pastor Tyus. I mean, I'm 100% Tyus, 100% husband, 100% dad, 100% granddad. I'm 100% telephone is turned off. And I'm 100% that person. And I love that 2 weeks of being 100% that person. And then 100% a son of God on the beach every day, spending time with the Lord every day, and just Tyus and the Lord. Just him and I, not me, Pastor Tyus, not the gift, not the teacher, not the executive coach, just me and Jesus. And that, man, for those 2 weeks are incredible to me. I come back, charged, recharged. I think I'm a little bit more. Julian asked me the same question yesterday. Called me up, said, "Hey, man, tell me more about, how your vacation was." He was kind of talking about how the fair was, and then, how was your vacation? Because he's always trying to get me to go to the fair. I never go to the fair, but so he has to ask me, "Well, you always take vacation on the fair time." Yeah, so I don't have to tell you I don't go to the fair.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's one of those things.
So now the secret's out. Julian, you know what's going on. So if he doesn't show up, you know why. So he's purposely going on vacation during the fair time.
Oh, for sure. But overall, I can probably say that vacation was exactly what me and my wife needed. After her being in the hospital and all of those moments that we had for close to 2 weeks of our life, and her getting away and just getting out of the hospital, number one, and getting on the sand and walking on the sand and looking at the water. I think it was refreshing for her, but and for me to see her outside of the hospital,
right,
was just really relaxing for me. And I'm not in that hustle bustle mode where I'm at the hospital, I'm at the church, I'm coaching, I'm back up Moncherie's room, and now I'm just, sometimes I'll wake up at 10 o'clock. It just depends on what I want to do. Sometimes I'm by myself. The ladies and the grandchildren, they're on their own, and I'm by myself. And I'm at the gym, never stop my gym routines, and still do that and just enjoy. I think one of the most interesting things was Cary, North Carolina. We went there for her 92-year-old friend who was in her life since Ohio State. And we went there. It's weird because it's the number 2 city in America with the least crime. So, so Whole Foods stay open till 12 o'clock there.
Hey, man, you said Whole Foods stay open till 12 a.m.
Yeah, so I went there to check it out.
Wow.
I went there to check it. I just went there at 11 o'clock. And people are still, now the thing was interesting, the older people were still walking around, just enjoying it. I'm looking at like, hey, what's going on? So I went to a pizza place there at 11:45, bought a pizza, was seeing people walking around talking, and like, shouldn't y'all be asleep? But, they say that Cary, North Carolina is the place where people from all over the United States, as they get a certain age, they come there because of just that quality of life. Like their lifetime is 5 times the size of ours. And they don't call it Lifetime Fitness here. They call it Lifetime Country Club.
Oh, wow.
So when we looked at it, they had like Zumbizi Bay on the outside of Lifetime.
Really?
And then the inside, they got their own. It just was incredible to know. But the problem was that I didn't see it till we were leaving. And everywhere you went, it was about the quality of life Everywhere we went, it was chiropractors and acupuncturists and massage therapists. All and the whole city was about health and wellness. So my wife said, hey, I know you want to go back there now to see and normally I don't want to go back to see her friend. I let her go herself. And she said, Lifetime got you. So I'm gonna go back there.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, so you were on vacation, had a chance to kind of just be you, right? And spend time with just you and God.
Yeah.
So that moment of rest for you during that time period, let's talk a little bit more about that, because I really feel that now that you've been back and we've heard you last Sunday, a lot of what we heard last Sunday probably can be traced back to what happened during that time that you got to rest. So let's talk a little bit about rest and what that did for you and how important that is, and even how it fed into the new series, Metamorphoo.
Yeah. I think, Michael, for me, is reading the Bible, and if the Bible really don't come alive to us, then it's like, why do we do it? Why do we even read it? So I'm reading that God rested, working 6 days, making this incredible world, and then he rests.
Right.
He said, he just rests. And then I watched and I read the Gospels over and over and over and over. And I'm looking at Jesus' life as a model. And then I see Jesus rest. He does what he's supposed to do, healings and deliverance, and then he just goes somewhere and rests. And him and his disciples, they chill out, they eat some fish, and so for me, I think the culture I came out of, the Bible college culture that defined our success based on our work ethics. We worked so much, and I remember my spiritual dad who went home to be with the Lord, Bishop John Mears. He always told me over and over and over and over, hey, Tyus, Jesus can take care of his own church. You take care of your wife. And I realized that it was all about the quality of my rest. This time, the quality of my rest was probably at the highest level because I was just really running really hard with my wife experience. So so I was due for rest because mentally I wasn't resting. I thought I was in the bed resting, but mentally my mind was going.
Well, yeah, everything you've been through, of course you couldn't have been resting. How is it even possible, about when you look at this year and everything that's happened to you from a personal standpoint, and then obviously with Miss Pat being in the hospital and friends and family being in the hospital. So, you got a church to run, and then you've got to still be all the different things. You've got to be outside, from an entrepreneur to a coach to pop, all of that. How do you get you need that vacation in order to be able to rest?
Yeah. I asked my wife, I said, well, Michael's back there, running the church, so next year let's take a month off. So I said,
see, now you done went too far. Yeah. Always trying to make somebody do some work. All right, moving on. Let's keep on talking. Back to you.
Right.
So during that period of rest, and you got a chance to rest, you had some time to kind of reflect and think about your life, and then you think about this series, and you were on fire last week. Like you always, I told the church when I got up and I spoke before you came back, I said, listen, when he come back, he gonna be on fire, so everybody be ready, and you certainly were. So, but tell us about Metamorphoo. What, during that rest period, what was God speaking to you specifically about this, and what was about you from a personal standpoint that kind of fed into what we were talking about on Sunday?
I think, Michael, the thing is that, again, I'm back to, if the Word of God doesn't impact me, then why should I release something that don't have any personal impact? So for me, I was going over the notes, and I was reading, I was studying, and there's stuff that I couldn't say Sunday that was said to me on the beach. Questions that I had for the Lord and the question the Lord had for me. So we were, there was time we were going back and forth on the questions I had in the Spirit of God and the question he had for me. And so it was more of metamorpho or transformation or being transformed. I was being transformed on the beach as I'm talking. as, hey, Tyus, what about you? It's, oh, okay. And so there were certain areas that were very, very challenging for me. Areas, like you say, areas as the entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Man, to go through a metamorpho process, to go through that transformation, to not be what I was yesterday and never be that again. That was challenging because, there's certain things I did I thought I did good.
Right.
And I want to go back and pull some of that into today. It's, no, you can't. Nope. This is all about a complete 100% total transformation. And are you willing to let it go, Tyus? Mm. There's some things about the church that was challenging for me because, I hear it all the time. We did this, 15 years ago and 14 years ago and 12 years. And so sometimes you say, oh, well, let's go back and do that. I said, no, you can't, Tyus. Mm. Like, you sure? So Metamorphoo was more about me becoming less of the caterpillar and becoming a butterfly, and never even thinking about the caterpillar experience. I went through it. I died to it. I got into my chrysalis, my own cocoon, and then I came out of it. And coming from vacation, I feel like a butterfly. I feel like I can fly. I feel like nothing really could limit me from doing what I'm called to do except for me. That there was no voice that would do that. There was one voice, and that voice was 2 weeks saying the same thing to me. Tyus, you're going to teach something that you're going to live. Hmm. Okay, sure, let's do it.
Yeah, and that's the trick, right? So that the Holy Spirit was challenging you and God was challenging you as you're walking on the beach. And I think that's cool that you shared that story because oftentimes we want to hear God, we want to hear the Holy Spirit, but we're so busy in life.
Yeah.
And then in our own world,
yep,
in our own mind, and everything that's happening, that we have difficulty. And one of the areas that we sometimes have difficulty is in hearing is our past success.
Yeah.
Because we're thinking about the things that we did right. And sometimes we come to those, we pull up those memories when things around us are kind of falling apart. So we go back to what was once successful, and we end up saying stuck there, right? So then you don't hear like you need to, so that you can push yourself forward the way that you need to. And something that you said, which was key just now and then on Sunday, was about being a caterpillar. Yeah. And I want to talk a little bit more about that, is that analogy of going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. We know it from a natural standpoint because we all been in school, we all seen it and all know what it's supposed to be, right? But applying that to our own personal lives and that caterpillar experience, and how dangerous it is for us to not morph from that into the butterfly. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that caterpillar experience for you, and why it was important for you to kind of go through what you went through so that you could be the butterfly.
I think, I told you, you and I were talking earlier, and I told you about a older couple that came to our church to visit our church last week. And, and they listened to session number 1, and they called me. Matter of fact, they texted me that night and said, they're in their 80s, and they said, man, incredible, it's life-changing. We're going to be with you for the next 2 weeks to be a part of the series. And they said, but one of the things that really was the most impactful of all the things you said was at the end when you had what we call family time. We're off the camera, put a chair out there, and I'm sitting talking to the members and the guests like we're family, which we are. And then I share something that I've never shared, a painful past, and how I had to go through Metamorphoo in order for that painful past to not cripple me for life. And I didn't want to do it. But I already did it in Myrtle Beach. I did it on the beach. I already had that conversation of how I really felt about the experience of, I'm all fired up, man. I'm a young youth pastor, and I got this dream, man, of building a dream center, a camp for kids all over the globe to come to in Columbus, and to Columbus to host that. And I got these 12 powerful, influential CEOs who bought into it. Well, to get this ground, 22 acres on Morris Road in our city, I was so fired up, man, that the grass was like up halfway here. I got the push mower, man. I'm mowing the grass. I'm sweating. I'm mowing this grass, and
Oh man, that was the funniest part of the story. Is the story was powerful, but yeah, the fact that you got 22 acres out there with a push mower.
Yeah. I'm so fired up, man. I'm so excited about the fact that the dream's gonna come alive, man.
Right.
That I started this, and we were so engaged that the project was a $2 million project. And we knew that to purchase the ground, $2 million, and to finish everything the way we wanted, it would be close to $10 million. And that was a no-brainer for us. We had it. The challenge we had was that a businessman came to us, and he said that, hey, man, I really believe in this. And he wrote a promissory note that he was given the $2 million. His business was doing great. He was, very successful. And so we were excited because, we had already raised, close to, $120,000 that year. And so the Nazarene campground, they told us that we had to give $10,000 a month to hold it. And you don't get it back. So we're at this, man, and every month it's $10 million, $10,000 come out of our pocket.
Right.
And we're fine because we're still raising money and we're excited. We got great vision, great people, and we got this promissory note. So we're cool. We're just waiting, by next year, we'll be able to give Nazarene their money. And because we're giving, we got $120,000 invested. So you take that away from the $2 million that we have, we got a little money left over, and we got momentum. We got people from around, pastors and leaders from around the country excited. They can't wait to see this. We got it all. We got architectural people, design. It was awesome, just great. One of a kind. And then the guy met with me and he said, hey, Tyus, I got to tell you something. He said, man, this deal that we're working, which was, a gas deal, just humongous, it failed. It crashed. His company crashed. And it was gone, and at that point, I make a decision because the board is telling me, Tyus, we need you to go in front of the people and tell people what happened. And I said, no. I'm going to go before the people, and I'm going to take the blame, not him. And they said, well, why you going to do that? I said, because I ran before God. Sure, I had a great ideal. Sure, it would be great. But it was a good thing, but not a God thing. And it's not his fault.
Right.
So I did it. I went up, the newspaper. People had to travel back across the country, talking to pastors and leaders and entrepreneurs and business owners, and told them the story. And I told them that, here's all the paperwork, here's where all the money went to that you said, everything, because, everything was totally official.
Right.
But the part I couldn't do, I couldn't shoot this guy in the bus. I had to take it.
Right.
And all the financial, all the board was at Tyus, man, if you do that, you're going to take a hit. And I said, yeah. I think the hardest hit was when my church hit me. And I shared that Sunday, and some people, I saw certain people crying And they come up to me and they said, that was my story. But I never got over it. And I need a Metamorphoo. So it was that moment in Myrtle Beach that I'm going back through this moment. And now because of the Metamorphoo, the transformation, it didn't sting no more. You know, I'm a butterfly now in that particular story. I'm not a caterpillar crawling around, eating off the pain and the hurts of it. I'm just flying and free. And the Lord said, you're free, Tyus, now free them. Tell them. And I did, man. And looking out in the auditorium, seeing people's faces, you know, seeing tears come down certain people's face, I realized then that Metamorphoo was more about being able to tell a story that all of us have an area that if we don't get total freedom from, can stop us from ever being a butterfly.
And that's powerful that you said that because, you know, typically when you've heard about metamorphosis, it's always trying to change, to evolve, to be better, yada, 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 right?
Yeah.
But that's not how you set the stage and with this particular series. And even today, as we're talking about it, it's about getting past what once was,
Yeah.
to be able to see what's possible.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's really the beginning stages of the Metamorphoo, right?
Yeah.
It's understanding what once was.
Right.
And for you, and just kind of listening to the story, you know, you understood it, you saw it, you experienced it.
Yeah.
But was the understanding all the way there? Probably not, but you went through that 2-week experience to where now the Holy Spirit can bring that back up and now kind of walk you through line by line by line.
Yep.
For the simple fact of not that the project can come back,
No.
but the simple fact that you can now be free so that you can share with others and help others to be free. You know, and that's really the beautiful thing about Metamorphoo.
Yep.
And I think you said this, you know, when you change from a caterpillar to a butterfly, just the beauty
Yeah.
of the butterfly, not
Yeah.
what it can do, but the beauty, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And what it can actually bring.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, Michael, it's also, and for you guys who are watching, is that I think sometimes I feel that we become a version of ourselves that's just not healthy. And that version is really not even the original us. It's really sometimes, you know, I went to Bible college and I went to regular college and I study. And all that made me, and that's all, I'm not saying that's bad, but it did create a Tyus, you know, it created a very confident Tyus for sure. But that wasn't always me though. And Metamorphoo kind of allowed me to keep that, but it also stripped that, put it further away from me to allow me to see what I really was. You know, all that was good, I keep, in Bible college is good, I keep that. All that was really good, but even the 2 weeks, I went back and I found that Tyus is this dreamer, man. Always been since a little boy, since 6 years old, the projects. Grandma telling me, man, he's an incredible dreamer. My coach calls me today, Coach Kurt Bruce's, because of this honor that I get next year. And he said to me, well, I'm at the gym today. You have always been an amazing kid. Now you're an amazing man. You know, that's the original me. And finding that person, and sometimes I feel like as a pastor, I lost that person. Mm-hmm. Just to be the pastor. Mm. You know, just to be that position. You know, that dreamer, that creative guy who, you know, we tripped to this building that we're in. This 2-story, 44,000 square foot building. we jumped to that 990 Kingsmill Parkway. We're in my house, and I got about 40-something people, and we're dreaming about what tomorrow looks like. For a year at my house, every Sunday night, coming together, praying and writing. We got paper all over my house, all over the walls, and we're writing what we see. And somewhere, once I became Pastor Tyus, I put the dreamer on hold. The original me had got put on hold. And I needed a metamorpho to find that person again. And, I came back home, man, and I said, I know Michael and Pat and I know my executive team, they want to say, oh, hold up. But I came back with the dreamer. The very thing that our congregation and our city needed from me was, sure I would be Pastor Tyus, that's a position. But the person. I needed Metamorphoo to let me be the person again. Because I knew how to be the position. I just forgot how to be the person.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. And, as we kind of wrap up, that's really the key, right? Because we, as humans, we're so position oriented, right? Everything we do is based upon a position or fulfilling some obligation or doing something.
Right.
That most times we lose sight of who we really are.
Yep.
And you just said it. I mean, for you to come back and have a further sense of confidence and remembrance of who you are, that does a lot for you. What's some of let's talk about some of the things that you feel, now that you've got that reassurance, like, what are some of the benefits that you've gotten from that reassurance of, okay, this is who I am as a person, not the position, but this is who I am as a person. And I've gotten this, obviously, going through this metamorpho process, but now this is who I am. So what are some of the benefits that you presently see as you look out?
I think overall, Michael, is that the position gets better. Yeah.
Explain.
Because the pastor position needs the dreamer.
Okay.
That's what made Pastor Tyus someone that society wanted, the dreamers out there, those dreamers who were older dreamers and younger dreamers, and white and black, and they wanted that, man. And the very thing that they wanted, I stopped becoming. And so, I could say that, sure, I was a morally sound pastor, a hardworking pastor, all that's cool. But what society needed from me was the dreamer. The dreamer made the pastor healthier. And so that was one of the benefits. I think ICC gets a healthier pastor going forward because the dreamer is alive in me. He is 100% alive.
Okay.
So I think that's one of the
that's a strong
benefits. Another benefit for me is going through this metamorpho process and allowing Tyus to come forth again. It allows me to raise up a generation of leaders like yourself with authenticity. And not with just principles and precepts and concepts that I know I can do that, but to be authentic, to be able to say that, man, it's just authentic, man, and then it makes you want to be authentic. It makes you say, man, when I'm on the pulpit and I watch you when I was on vacation, and you were awesome. You did a great job. I was blessed. I grew from it because I saw the authenticity. I saw that you were not being Tyus, not being Pastor T, not being, Apostle Ron Hairston, not being Apostle Lafayette Scales. You were in that mode where, and it made me feel really good because I realized that if I can go back home and I can continue being more authentic, then I can produce authentic leaders. And if I produce authentic leaders, Father, in a world that's so looking for authenticity, then that's the benefit. And so those are two. If I had two of the top 5, those would be the 2 tops. That I came back to Dreamer, man, and I even met with Ohio State University with 2 of the top people at Ohio State of me. I dreamt of speaking to the doctors and the admin and the nurses, and while my wife was in the hospital in Monterey, and me pouring my life into nurses and admin people while I was there. And I wrote a whole program called the Hope Series. Just was dreaming of, and I dreamt of being in the place where the doctors and the nurses and the admin people and the surgeons came in, and I was pouring my life into them. And the 2 people met me at Easton and took me out to lunch this past Monday, and they said, "We're going to do everything in our power to get you there." It was the dreamer in me, man.
Right.
That, and they said, "Well, how much do you think Ohio State need to pay you?" Nothing. It said, nothing.
Oh, we need to talk about that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
You need a business manager when this is over with. I need to
yeah.
apply for that job.
Yeah. I just, and I said, it's a dream in me, and I think just getting in the door and letting doctors and nurses and people who care for people, who care for my wife and Moncherie, and be able to let them know that I want to care for you. Who cares for you? And I can say the dreamer does, and I can tell a story that I dreamt of serving you. And now I get to do that. And it don't cost me nothing but my life. And if someone were like one of the Ohio State guys said, "Well, once we get you there for a year, we'll start paying you next year." I said, "Okay, well, we'll talk about pay." But it was more about, I came back home and even meeting with them, they didn't meet Pastor Tyus. They met with the dreamer. And I was very comfortable in that. Very comfortable, man.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of great nuggets that you gave in terms of what Metamorphoo sets you up to do, which is to be confident, to remember who you are as a person. And, we get a better pastor, and you have the chance to be the dreamer and develop authentic leadership, because you're displaying authentic leadership. But the thing that you just said, which it goes without saying, but it needs to be said, right? It's just how much more productive you are when you're tuned in to you as a person, right? Because you can now see all the beauty of life. You can see all the different opportunities. You can see what's out there in front of you. And not only do you get a chance to see it, but now you get to pursue it and chase it.
For sure.
And now it's within grasp, and you can actually grab it because you've changed. You've let some things go. You made room for more because you've gone through this process.
Let me say this last thing, and then because we could be here all day. Hey guys, him and I, we could be here all day. I mean, him with his sweats, me in my shorts. Hey, where do we have to go? We cool. And I have my vacation hat, Hilton Head hat, so I'm cool. I can just put this on and go back to Hilton Head, so I'm all fine. But one of my close friends is an older guy, and we meet once a month for the last 6 years at a breakfast place. And we spend about 2, 3, 4 hours together just sharing. And one day we were there, and he was saying, "Hey, Tyus, I need something from you." I said, "Sure, how can I help you?" He said, "I need the dreamer in you." Mm-hmm. I said, "Okay." He was going on a sabbatical. An organization wanted him to go on a sabbatical for 1 year around the world, and they would pay for it. And all he had to do is tell the story of Jesus wherever he goes. So he was in Rome. Write about what you experienced there through the lens of Jesus. So they sent him to Israel, to Rome, back to his hometown, and all over the United States. And he asked me before he left, he said, "Would you go?" And I said, "If you go, your congregation and you are circles today. You know when you come back, you're going to be a square, and the square and the circle may not meet. So are you ready to go out and become a square? And then have to not try to fit back into a circle. You'll be a great pastor when you come back, but you just won't be a circle again. Mm-hmm. You would be the square that you were always meant to be, but you became a circle to be a pastor. Mm. And it took this sabbatical. And he said, wow, man, I can see it. I said, yeah. He said, yeah, that's why I want you. They said, that's why I love you, man. Because you're a dreamer. And I said, no, that's why I love you, because you're really a square.
Shapes and sizes and geometry. That's what y'all's conversations is. Yeah, y'all can leave me out of that. I don't want to deal with that. But no,
right.
But the point is valid though, which is that it's back to the position.
Yeah.
Right. When we go through this process, we're supposed to stay that way.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to live free.
Yeah.
But if we're not careful, even for this church, if we don't allow you to be the dreamer,
yeah,
then we're pulling on you to bring us to go back to what once was. And we as people, we can't do that. We have to allow people to evolve, and we ourselves have to be able to evolve as well, because that's the only way Metamorphoo is going to really take hold in our lives.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm excited about this series, Michael. I really am, because
clearly, yes, we could tell.
Yeah. I'm excited because it's challenging me, man. I love the challenge, man. I love the challenge I'm at. I love the challenge. You know, as you know, the next couple, we have, 5 years before 2030? You know. Yeah.
That's wild, isn't it?
Yeah,
like 5 years before 2030.
Yeah, and on the beach, man, I went to 2030. I saw it clearly. As a little boy, man, in the projects, at 6 years old, looking up in the sky with a red wagon, and had my little friends in the wagon, and I'm pulling them around the projects, and I'm telling them, look up in the sky. And they're looking like, what are you? And the steel mill is back here, and they got all this smoke coming up, and it creates this smoke cloud, and it creates, and I see, every time I look up there, I would say, hey, look up there, guys. I say, hey, what do you see? I said, hey, I see a train, looks like a train, and we're all going to get in the train, and we're going to leave the projects. And every time I would have them in there, I said, hey, what do you see? They say, smoke. I said, no, it's a bus. We're getting in and the whole thing was the dreamer, and my grandma used to tell me, you used to put them in there, and you would always allow people to see that there was a way out. Mm. Years later, we all got the projects. Maybe on the bus, maybe on the train, maybe through college, maybe through the military, but we all got out, because when you allow the person to be who they originally are, it impacts everything. Strong. Even the kid in the projects.
That's strong. I appreciate it, Pastor. So we're looking forward to the next part,
yes, sir,
which is coming up, and then the week after that. It's kind of a shame that it's only going to be 3 weeks, but, hey, we'll see what God says. Maybe he might let you keep going, so we'll see.